Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Creative Careers, where we talk with artists and art-related careers from all over the place. And today we are very excited to talk with Cynthia Hernandez. Welcome, Cynthia.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
So we're going to start off with real simply tell us what you do and what your job looks like.
Yeah, so I'm the school programs coordinator for Versatile Dance Company, and we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization and dance ensemble that consists of committed and conscientious artists who reflect the diversity of Los Angeles. But as the school programs coordinator, I basically plan and organize educational school shows. So prior to the stay-at-home ordinance, we would visit schools all around the Los Angeles area, and we basically offer a dynamic 1 hour show where we demonstrate choreography and foundation, and we use live demonstrations as a way to just kind of give the youth and the students a new perspective on hip hop dance culture and history, while also trying to unfold the true essence and the true, meaning and of hip hop as a whole and as a culture. So when we're doing these shows, we use styles that go as far back as Afro Latin styles, and that includes cumbia, merengue, social dances, and popping and locking and whacking. And we use these styles specifically because when we visit these schools are in communities that is predominantly Black and Brown folks. And these dance styles were created by Black and Brown folks. So we kind of point in like, hey, these dances come from your neighborhood. Like, you're seeing folks who look like you on stage use these dances that originated, from your area, and kind of just use that in hopes to like motivate them to not necessarily like, hey, become a dancer, but just find something that you're passionate about and, follow it and see how far you can take it.
I absolutely love that. That's fantastic. I'd love to hear a little bit more about your journey in particular. How did you get here? Were you always interested in dance? How did you end up with this group, and how did you end up doing a couple of different roles with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to take you back because my story starts actually in 2006 when I met my director and the co-founder of Versatile and co-artistic director, Jackie Lopez. At the time, she was my dance instructor in middle school. So I was in 6th grade when I met her. And this was the first time that I ever learned about hip hop, like as a culture and the street dance style aspect of it. I've always just known of hip hop as like, the MTV videos that I would see on mainstream media. But this was my first real introduction. And from there, I kind of just kept coming back to her and to my other co-artistic director and co-founder, which is Lee Fawad. They would invite me to their Friday night classes, which are still happening, 15 years strong. Yeah, so I believe it was 2009, because I kept coming back, they asked me to join the junior company, which is Versatile Next Generation. And from 2009 to 2014, I just trained with them. And it wasn't until 2014 where they asked me to join Versatile, which is a professional touring company. And at the time, I had a peer, Jackie Oka, who she moved up to Versatile before me. So she was filling the position of the school programs coordinator. But along the way, she found something else that she wanted to focus on. So she kind of just took a different route. And so that position opened up. And, I had been around for quite some time already. And there was just already so much history there. And I had just graduated from CSUN. So Jackie, she kind of was just like, would you be interested in, filling this position? Like, I've seen the way you work. I've seen you have great communication skills. You know how to write an email. Like, I think you would be great at this. So I was just kind of like, sure, why not? I've just graduated. I was looking for work. And if I can work for an organization that I truly believe in, why not? So that's kind of how I ended up as a school programs coordinator. But what I love about it is that I'm able to do all of these, all of this admin work while also still get to do what I love, which is to dance and perform. Because we do get to tour around, the country, around, just global, perform and dance and, be as involved in the hip hop dance culture and community as much as I can, while also developing other skills that, hey, I'm not just a dancer, but I can also, do more admin work. I can plan, I can organize, I can, advocate as to why we need more arts in schools. Like bring, well, I can bring us, yeah, that's kind of how I ended up there.
That's really cool. I like how you talked about that this gives you an opportunity to be doing even more of the work than if you were
Yes,
only performing. You get to do kind of work both ends, both
yes,
in front of people and making things happen behind the scenes a little bit.
right, yes,
Um,
exactly.
I'm curious a little about what were some of the skills that you had to really work on, either in as you first started learning about hip hop. What was maybe the toughest thing for you to really learn about that new style of dance? And then when you stepped into this admin position, what were some of the skills that transferred really well from your dance work, and what were some of the new ones? So talk a little bit about what did you have to learn to do both of these things?
Great, yeah, I love that question. So I actually grew up in a Mexican household. So I've always had music and dance around me. But again, it wasn't, until 2006 when I actually really dived into hip hop. But I think I've always had like a natural kind of just like groove because of all of the music and dance that I grew up around with. So I think though I was more natural to it, it still took a lot of work and it still took a lot of time for me to really develop the technique and the skills that hip hop does offer. And I think what the process of that was just me really just finding moments and just finding time to just repeat the foundation that I was being taught. And that kind of took like an extra brain, like a muscle in my mind to just kind of keep working on it and just kind of like, even though it did at moments feel foreign, like how can I really try to not only understand the dance, but understand the culture of it? Because though I am doing, hip hop dance or street dance styles, like a big part of it did originate from the dance styles that I grew up with. So I think just finding that connection and just at, most importantly, just having fun with it. I think there is technique, yes, and you're gonna have to like really commit to it. It's not something that you can just wake up and be brilliant at. It definitely comes with time. Um, but I think what helped me as a dancer to kind of like also become an arts administrator is the what I've learned and what I'm seeing that connects now is because I'm also like very involved with freestyle, and freestyle is like just very in the moment, just what kind of comes out, what of course I'm taking the technique and the foundation that I've learned and I'm using that to just kind of create on the spot. um, and as an arts administrator, I've noticed one thing in particular that I've like really been using is problem solving. So as an arts administrator, like, yes, I'm doing a lot of work and I'm, communicating with other folks, but if something was to arise in that moment, like, okay, what can I do in that moment to kind of to, like problem solve? How can I still get the work done? It gave me that opportunity to become a great problem solver, because I'm constantly using my mind. Okay, what can I which way do I want to explore? Like, what am I feeling today? What do I want to dance, right? And it's just like in that moment I'm really using my mind. So I kind of noticed that I've also been as an arts administrator. It just really helps me think deeper and think more critically, which I personally love. Like, I see it now more than ever. And I don't know if I would really have that outlook if it wasn't for dance. I think dance truly did give me that, and, you know, give me the ability to think deeper and just to think more of like the why am I dancing, or why am I doing this work, or like why is it important, you know? And I hope I answered your question.
Absolutely. No, that was fantastic. um, as we're winding this down, we are obviously sending this out at a time when a lot of students are stuck in their homes. They can't necessarily go out to a dance class. What is something that if a student thinks, oh, I'd like to be involved with a dance company, either in an arts admin role or in a performative role, or both, like you, what is something that they could do from home this week, today, to improve some of these skills?
Yeah, absolutely. I think most importantly, I would advise to just kind of do your research in regards to hip hop, because, and street dance culture in general, because I feel there's such a gap between what mainstream media does portray as hip hop. And I think it's definitely so much more, right? It's not just promiscuity. It's not just about, you know, rapping this and that. It's more, it's inclusiveness, it's unity, it's equity. And I think it's not just the cool hip hop moves, right? So I think I know it's probably not as easy to find, but there are resources out there. And one great resource is Buddha Stretch. He and Link, they are pioneers in hip hop. And on YouTube, you can find their hip hop dictionary, and maybe just start there. If you're interested in hip hop dance, you can start there. It's free, it's on YouTube. They break down all of the fundamental movements. That's where a quick way where you can learn some hip hop, some great hip hop moves. And as far as arts administrative, I would think something that I'm still working on, and I think is super important, is finding your voice. Because if this is the work that you truly believe in, something that you really want to advocate for, I think it's super important to be able to translate that, you know, into physical words, and to be able to have these conversations with other folks and really advocate why you think it's important to have this art form, you know, wherever you're trying to get it to. And that's something that I'm still working on. I think once you're able to articulate it, then you're good. Like, you're set. And yeah. Oh,
Awesome.
and that reminds me, I'm sorry. There are so many more resources, and actually it's really exciting. This all worked out so perfectly. This coming week, Versus Stout is celebrating our 15-year anniversary. Unfortunately, our everything going on, which it's okay. What matters is, you know, everyone's health. But we are moving forward with a online celebration. So, and it's very exciting. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we'll be hosting interviews with our alumni who, you know, paved the way. And we'll have 2 interviews each day, one at 3 p.m. and one at 6 p.m. And that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll be hosting the first interview if you'd like to catch that. And then Thursday and Friday, we'll be having workshops. So if you are interested in becoming a dancer, we have free workshops online. And the first workshop will be of the style Crump with our company member Beast Boy, Brandon, aka Beast Boy. And then the second workshop is whacking. And we have company members Jabari and Anthony, also known as GQ and Berry Groove. And on Friday, we have hip hop, a hip hop class. And that will be taught by 2 of our youngest and newest members, Sean and Brianna. And then we'll finish off that night with our directors, Jackie Lopez and Lee Fawad. And they'll be teaching house. And then what I'm really looking forward to is Saturday, we're going to have a DJ session. So more of our alumni who are also, you know, great DJs, they will be providing music for us online. So if you are home, you can listen to some great music and, you know, dance in your living room. And then on Sunday, which I'm also really looking forward to, we'll be premiering our Versatile, our story on Facebook and YouTube premiere. So I'm very much looking forward to all of that. And if anyone out there is really interested on attending any of these, they can follow us on Instagram at Versatile Outlet or find us on Facebook at Versatile Dance Company.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll make sure and put that information out there, because I think I love that this did work out so well, that it's right before we're about to offer all these resources. So anybody watching today, this next week is, you have a lot of options available to you. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today, Cynthia, and talking a little bit about your journey and your work.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited it worked out, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, viewers, that's all for today. Don't forget to tune in again tomorrow at 1 p.m. for more Let's Be Creative Arts content. We'll see you then.